We're going to go ahead and get started. Today is Monday, March 1st, 2021. The time is 6:32. I'd like to call the Village of Lincoln Heights Economic Development Committee meeting to order. With a roll call, please, Ms. Randolph.
Councilwoman Tanya Key.
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Present.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Present.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Present.
And Councilwoman Phyllis Baber.
Present.
We have 5 who are present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Randolph. We will allow the prayer from Law Committee to sustain us in this meeting. Item number 4 on the agenda. May I have a motion, please, to accept the minutes from our February 1st, 2021 meeting, pending any corrections?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, it carries. I'd like to make a motion to amend our agenda to move new business items before old business. So can we move number 6 on the item on the agenda before number 5?
Motion. Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved in second. Any questions? Hearing no questions, if we can all just signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We'll move new business up. And thank you, committee, for allowing me to process through the first part of our meeting rather quickly. And the reason why is because we have visitors with us today that will be giving us a presentation and some updates on some of the work that we've been doing as it pertains to housing, and probably a little bit on commercial development as well. And so today we have with us individuals from the Port Authority, and we have Mr. Brown. You pronounce your first name Aaron?
Yes, it's like, I tell people it's like Sharon, but it has an A at the beginning, so.
Gotcha. So we have Mr. Aaron Brown. We also have Ms. Deborah Robb. We also have joining us Mr. Bradley Melton. Mr. Bradley Melton, I don't think you guys have met. He will be working or looking at some commercial development with us. And we also have Mr. Eric Hun, I see on his iPad. Awesome. So we're going to let Mr. Brown go ahead. He has a presentation for the committee to kind of bring everybody up to speed about some of the meetings that we've been having with Port Authority as it relates to our vacant lot situation. So Mr. Brown, you have the floor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Key. And good evening to every member of this committee. My name is Aaron Brown. I'm a real estate development associate with the Port Authority. I'm actually with the HERC, which I'm under Deborah Robb, and I've been tasked with making a map of Lincoln Heights. So this map was made using LandGrid, which is a GIS technology that uses base maps and public access data, so publicly available data to pretty much show parcels and information about those parcels all across our county. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen. Just really quickly though, I do have to cut out because I have a council meeting. Like Councilmember Daniel says, I'm also a council member of Forest Park City Council, so I have a meeting of my own at 7 p.m. So I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. And hopefully everybody can see this. Excuse all the tabs that I have open. All right, so I'll try to zoom in really quickly. But basically, this is a development map of Lincoln Heights that I've made. The legend gives you the color code of who is the owner of particular parcels across the village. So as you can see, light blue on the legend is actually already owned currently by the Port Authority. Light green is owned by the village. And then I would say kind of like a forest green is from the now defunct reutilization program. And then normal green would be the Community Improvement Corporation. Orange is currently owned by the village also, but it was, when it was still a city. And then there are a number of other colors as well, including yellow to display vacancy, blue if there's not any water currently running, and red will display any taxes. So this map is, like I said, it's from publicly accessible data from things like, Greater Cincinnati Water Works, Duke Energy, the auditor's website, and also United States Postal Service. And it's very interactive, so you can go around on any parcel and click. It'll give you the name of the address, and it'll give you a number of, a bunch of different information about the particular parcel. And I can share this with everyone also. So let me do that. Let me do that now. So, because it's a interactive map. But one sec. Bring it back to the share screen. Well, as you mess around with the map, you'll start to see which parcels, have different factors on them, and it can also have more than one factor on the parcel. So even though it might display one color, if you click it, it'll just give you a breakdown of every single. If I can go over to the county, it'll give you every factor that parcel has. So there's, it's also vacant. It's owned by the port currently, and it has water shut off. It's displaying light blue because that is the data set that displays first on that parcel. And like I said, it's an interactive map. Anything that is publicly accessible, we can get and we can put into the map and have it display in a number of different ways. But this is just an overview of, we wanted to show who owns what currently and what are the conditions of those. And it'll also give you a breakdown of if it's a vacant lot or if there is a structure on the parcel. But that is pretty much the gist of it. I know, we're recording live, so I don't want to click on too many different parcels and show people's personal information, because it can also display, like I said, tax information. So I can let people, fumble around with this whenever they have the time. But this is readily available for each of you once I share this through the chat, and I can send it to each of you on your email as well. But yeah, this is just something that I was tasked with making, and the data is very accurate. But at any point in time, since it's public data, once these data sets are updated by the respective parties, whether it's Greater Cincinnati Water Works or United States Postal Service, we can put in even more accurate information, like just even to the day. So that's kind of a basic overview. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask, and I can answer to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. So before we go to questions, I just want to kind of backfill the committee as to why you're even showing the map. We are working to look at a tool, and this might be a tool that we're going to use. Pretty much it is going to be a tool that we're going to use to help us determine which lots we might want to develop on in clusters. As you have heard Ms. Powdrow mention in several of our meetings, Ms. Mitchell also sits in on our meetings because she has been tasked from this committee to be able to help with the planning phases and the development phases of those particular lots. And so Mr. Brown has given us a tool that is accessible to all of us. And Mr. Brown, if you want, I can just email the link that you already sent to me out to the committee. That way, that's one less thing that you would have to do. And then everyone on the committee will have the opportunity to be able to see it. And then when I'm working with Ms. Mitchell and Ms. Powdrow and the port, we actually have a tool that we're using to look at, attacking areas first. How do we want to work it, and so forth and so on. So if you could, so if I can't really see everyone, so I don't know if there's any questions so far from Mr. Brown. I do know that he has to leave, so we want to respect his time, which is why we kind of had him go first. Does anybody have any questions about the tool itself and how to use the tool and why we're looking at using the tool?
Madam Chair, I don't have a question, just a comment. Just want to thank Mr. Brown because I think that is going to be quite helpful for us.
I
Put all
agree.
the information in one spot.
Yeah. Ms. Powdrill, would you like to say anything about the tool itself? I know we did get a chance to get some previewing of the tool at one of our previous meetings.
I just agree with Councilwoman Mitchell that I'm excited about the opportunity to work with the port, and this tool will absolutely help us to try to make progress in a cluster area. So our hope is that once people see the improvements in the village, they'll believe that the village is on the right trajectory. So yes, I'm fully on board and excited about the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Powdrill.
Chairman Key, I did have a question for Mr. Brown.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor.
I noticed on the map, it had a lot of water shutoffs. Is that actually houses with no water?
Yes, some are, there might be a structure on the map at that particular parcel, but some that's displaying water shut off, there's no structure at all. But like I said, this is for the water shut off, this is the most accurate that we received from Greater Cincinnati Waterworks.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Gotcha. And I think one of the things that came out of our meeting is there may be some things that may just be just a little off. So if you are reviewing the tool at your leisure and you run across an area that either doesn't look right, doesn't sound right, and you have some questions about it, feel free to let us know, because we will be working with this tool in detail as we're looking at planning with the port. So feel free to either shoot Ms. Powdrill an email, you can shoot myself an email, and we'll make sure that we get either it answered or we'll make sure it gets updated in whatever CAGES system or whatever system is actually capturing the data. So once again, that's available for everyone to review because we will be using that tool to kind of guide some of our work.
And really quickly, to that regard, I do want to say at any point in time, if you would, want to undertake a survey yourself, or, I feel like that'll be a really good way to bring members of the community into it. Like, hey, your block or your house better than anybody else. How about self-surveying? If there's, any opportunity for people to submit that information to the city directly, because everyone has a smartphone now. And you might even be able to gather up a few kids around the neighborhood and tell them, hey, just go down your block, knock on the door, talk to your neighbor, because everyone knows what buildings are vacant, what the conditions of them are. Well, oh, that was, Mr. Jenkins' house and it's been vacant for 10 years. And I know the water shut off or they took the copper out the building. People will know the conditions of the particular area. And I think that would be a really good community building tool so people feel included and not just that, oh, well, someone's coming in steamrolling and changing the village, but they'll have a say in it. Like, well, we are actually surveying so we can decide who comes in and we allow to build. So because they submitted the information. And that's why I think is really the benefit of tools like this. Because once they look at it and they say, hey, actually, I'm paid up on my taxes. Let me submit this information myself. And they'll feel really a part and really included.
Right. Well, thank you, Mr. Brown. Any more questions for Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown, you're welcome to hang out until you have to leave. We appreciate you for sharing the tool with us that you shared with us in our meeting. I now will go to Ms. Deborah Robb for her. Thank you. And we'll be following up with you, I'm sure, with our standing meetings that we've been having. So we'll see you soon. Ms. Robb, if you'd like to, actually, before we go to Ms. Robb, I would like for Ms. Powdrill now, if you can just give us the overview vision of the reason why we're looking at port, the reason why we're looking at these lots. What are some of the things that we talked about in our meeting? I'm getting feedback.
Is that, can you hear me?
Yes, but I'm getting
Okay.
feedback. It's like duplicating. Well, stay on mute for a minute and then you can come on after I finish talking. So we're going to have Ms. Powdrill and then I'm going to ask Ms. Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell, if you'd like to add something to the conversation, being on the housing committee, working with the port and the meetings and conversations that we had. So we'll start there. We'll go to Ms. Mitchell, then Ms. Robb will come to you. Is that okay? All right, great. Ms. Powdrill?
Yes, I will be very brief because I really want you all to get to hearing Deborah Robb and this potential partnership with the Port Authority. But it is important for us to have the context is that the village owns quite a few lots. And as a real estate holder of quite a few lots, what drives the revenue for the village is real estate tax and earnings tax from companies. And while we don't have any real estate built on those lots, that doesn't do us any good. So our goal is to build rooftops, have rooftops in the village. And with a partnership with the Port Authority, we feel like this is an opportunity for us to do that in a very robust way. And they can bring all of their tools, their talents, and their techniques to help us. And so I expect in the next year or two that they will be helping us see our vision that we have in the village. And we've talked about that as being housing as one of the pillars under our economic development piece. And so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Robb to just kind of explain what that vision looks like or that partnership could potentially look like in partnering with the village as well as with the county. So, and
before Ms. Robb goes, we're going to let Ms. Mitchell just kind of give a brief synopsis to show that, you know, we're working together. We're a little committee working with housing, and then we'll go to Ms. Robb. Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you, Ms. Key. Well, basically, you know, one of the things that the whole goal is to identify areas for new housing and development across the village, not just in one location, although you all know I'm all gung-ho on building out Martin Luther King. And the other thing that we have to look at with the housing is that we also have to see where there is some, the mayor's always talking about making sure that we have the home ownership classes. So we need to begin to also identify some lenders, you know, some friendly lenders who will help with this homeowner assistance. So, you know, we have to, as Ms. Powdrill said, in the next 2 years, really have to come up with what it is that we like to do. But as we think about housing, housing cannot be separate from our infrastructure, meaning the streets, you know, because when you build a house on a street that is not, that is in poor condition, which means we really have to take a look at what are we doing with the of the OWP, of the Ohio Works Permission, Ohio Works program, so that we can look at what our capital improvement needs to be. So actually our housing comes up under capital improvement programs that includes the infrastructure. And I think one of the other things that we have to look at is what is the percentage of home ownership in the village, because that's helpful for us to know. So we'll be kind of using the 2020 census for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Mitchell, Councilmember Mitchell. So now we'll turn it over to Ms. Robb, and Ms. Robb will be able to discuss how the port can support us in our endeavors and some of the things that they've been able to help us to see, and whatever else she would like to share with the committee tonight. Ms. Robb.
Thank you, Councilmember Key. As you recall, the port / the Homesteading and Urban Redevelopment Corporation has received grant monies from the county to build 4 new houses on the corner of Jackson and Douglas. We are working through some issues with the county with regards to some parcel number data that has to be corrected prior to starting the construction of those properties. We hope to be able to break ground within the next 30 to 45 days on those 4 properties. We also are looking at other areas where we may be able to bring new housing to the village. But of course, we will do that in conjunction with the needs and the desires of the village. We are speaking with a potential preferred lender who may be able to bring some down payment assistance monies to home buyers for the houses that we are building, as well as we are working with working in neighborhoods to do the home buyer assistance training because the houses have to go to buyers who are at or below the 80% area median income for Hamilton County. So working in neighborhoods will be the organization that will be working with potential buyers to ensure that they meet those income guidelines. We continue to, like I said, to work with the village and are here at your disposal for whatever we can do going forward to create more housing opportunities in the village.
Thank you, Ms. Robb. And before we open up for questions, we do have Mr. Eric Hunn on the line. I do know the mayor was at one point was trying to have him come and speak to us at council, and something happened with timing. He wasn't able to stay. So he's here today. Just wanted to hear from him because I know that he is partnering with the Port Authority, and he has been the preferred contractor to build those homes on Jackson Street. He has also already built a home on Chamberlain, which is very nice, has been received very well from the residents, and is generating a lot of buzz from individuals who want to buy homes. So Mr. Hunn, are you able to hop on? And there you go.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yes, I'm just I have a lot of people interested in the housing in Lincoln Heights. So I've already applied for, in the last 2 weeks, 4 permits, and I have more coming. So just very excited about starting to get things going in Lincoln Heights. And as I said, people that want to live in Lincoln Heights, the calls have been overwhelming. So that's all I really have, but I'm ready to start putting some shovels in the ground.
That's great to hear. Does anybody from committee have any questions? Yes, ma'am, Vice Mayor.
How soon will they be able to come here for the home buyer assistant training classes? I think I wrote that down, right?
The classes are online, so they can go at their leisure. And so I have been referring all of the people that have been contacting Mr. Hunn to working in neighborhoods or the homeownership center for that training.
Ms. Robb, are you able to provide us with the link to that online class at all? Can you just email it to us, or?
I can email, I don't have the actual link, but I can email you the organization's email address.
Okay, and then we'll be sure to share it out. So if there's anybody who's interested. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other questions?
Madam Chair, I just want to thank Mr. Hunn for coming. We were excited last time. We're excited again today. So thank you, Mr. Hunn, for fitting us in your schedule. And we're excited about the houses that you have built and will continue to build for us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Mr. Bradley Melton. Just wanted to see if he's able to hop on just to give us a little bit of your background and your interest.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brady Melton. I am a commercial real estate associate for the working with the port as well. So I work with Deborah and Aaron, and I've had a couple of interactions with Eric as well. My responsibility is working with commercial properties that Eric's that be available at any need you all have in terms of working with a commercial residential property is a piece of property that's 5 units or more. So if there's situations with that, as well as also working with properties that are commercial in nature in terms of getting businesses and those types of things to come into the Lincoln Heights area. And we're available to provide whatever sources or resources that we can have to working with stimulating growth.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Melton. We appreciate you being here today. We appreciate you being available as a resource for us as we begin to launch upon some really big initiatives. So we thank you for your attendance. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, so I just wanted to ask Mr. Hahn, does he have pictures of the houses he's about to build, or does he have several? Does he build one kind? Is there a way that we can get like a portfolio of homes that you build?
Are you talking about blueprints for new ones that I have?
Uh-huh. But not necessarily the blueprints, but just the, the facade, with
Yes.
just an explanation. Yeah.
Yes, I do have, right now we have, I think we got 4 different types that we're looking at. So I can put those in an email, what they're gonna look like on the outside and share them.
Okay. And one other question. So do the 4 homes, will they fit on certain size lots or any size lot that is 50 above?
Well, most of the ones that we have right now are 40, or they're the smaller lots.
Okay.
So if I was hoping to get some that's 50, because I do have people that's interested in some bigger homes and some 2-car garages.
Yes.
But the lots that we have right now, they're too small to do that with.
Okay. So all of your lots are below Van Buren. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, at this point, and which is what makes that tool so important, because as we begin to look at areas that make sense to perhaps look at putting bigger homes, we can start look at what lots make sense to be able to combine lots or do whatever we need to do to make it accessible for people who are interested in the larger homes in the village. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Simpson.
Okay, Mr. Melton, he is commercial property, meaning he helps with the business part, right? Not like somewhere where somebody would live, not residential, but strictly business, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is he looking
Sorry.
around the community for places that businesses could fit or help the current
First off,
businesses that are already here? Could you hear
let me
me?
be clear again. Can you hear me? Are you all able to hear me? Okay.
Yes.
First off, just for a definition, when we say commercial, we are talking about residential as well. So apartment buildings, anything that's considered 4 units or less is considered a single family property, although it may have 4 units. From a banking standpoint, a bank would look at that and say, okay, that's someone that would be buying with their personal, buying on their personal loan. Whereas a commercial property is 5 units or more. So anybody that has a 5-unit apartment building all the way up to 20, 30, 40, 50 units, whatever those kinds of things, I would be working with those in terms of residential. Also working with commercial. So when we say commercial there, I'm talking about businesses being a retail business or a service provided business. We would be working with those to help those people as well be able to find property, bring them to help bring people to the village where there's properties that either the port owns. How is it that we can get things set up so that those people would be able to go on and build their business in the area?
Thank you, Mr. Melton. So for the committee, please keep in mind that the reason why we have our visitors here today is because we wanted to bring you up to speed with the conversations that we've been having. There has not been anything finalized or determined as far as how we're going to build, where we're going to build, what we're going to build, and so forth and so on. But when we get ready to bring that information back, I want you to be familiar with who those individuals are that we're looking to work with. And the port has been a great partner with us. And then we also have Hamilton County Community Development and Planning. They've been a good partner with us too, through Joy Pierce. I believe that's Joy. Is Joy through that group? Yeah, so they've been a great partner with us this far, and they are looking to continue to partner with us. And one thing that I did like from the last meeting that we had is they were very specific about they want the village to drive the work. And that's what we're excited about. So we'll get a chance to have a say in the plans, have a say in what houses we want where, have a say in if we want bigger apartment units or what have you, where those might be, where the businesses might be. So that will be, the work will be coming from this committee with recommendations out to council. So that's the purpose for having our visitors here today. Any other questions for anybody who has presented today or anything that was said up until this point?
Councilmember Key, can I just reiterate what you were stating, that the port is here to offer the tools that we have to the village as a tool that we have that no other entity may be able to have. We will offer those same tools to any other jurisdiction in the county, and we'll work with the village to implement your plan. So I don't want anyone to think that this is the port's plan or this is a plan that is the county's plan, but it's the village's plan. And we're just here to be able to provide the tools that we have at your service.
Thank you, ma'am. If there's no other questions, Ms. Mitchell, did you have a question?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I was gonna say, you have that look on your face like you want to ask.
No, I'm good.
Thank you. And so at this point, Ms. Powdrill, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to that topic? So at this point, I would like to actually make a motion that we have our village manager, Ms. Powdrill, work on a plan, to develop a plan actually, for lot development between the Port Authority and Hamilton County Community Development Planning.
State that again, Ms. Key.
Yes, ma'am. I'm asking for a motion, or I'll make the motion actually, to have Ms. Powdrill, our village manager, develop a plan for lot development between the Port Authority and Hamilton County Community Development Planning. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved in second. Are there any questions?
Well, are we working, is this going to be a committee type thing where they're working together, or they working as two in one?
Well, what I'm looking for is to have the motion so that Ms. Powdrill actually can develop what the program will look like as we work with the port in Hamilton County. And so as that plan is written out, then it will come back to committee for us to review to make sure that's the direction in which we want to go. Because right now, the Port Authority does a lot of different things, and we want to narrow it down to what we actually want in our program. Hamilton County Development and Planning, they do a lot of different things. And we want to work systematically through the steps. And so this is the first step. And the first step is that we're going to go into agreement that says, yes, we want to work with the port and we want to work with the Planning Development Committee. And that's the first step. And then the second step is after they develop a plan, they'll come back and we'll review that plan and see if that's the direction that we want to go. So this is our first step to starting that relationship.
So is the motion too broad? Is it, yeah.
It is very broad initially, and it's meant to be.
Yes.
It's meant to be. And so it's meant now for Ms. Powdrill, the port, and the
Yes.
community to actually come back together and say, okay, this is what we've come up with, then we can start narrowing that scope down to what we want.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Hearing no questions, Ms. Randolph, can we do a roll call, please?
I'm sorry, Miss Key.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Did I see your hand?
Yeah, no, no,
I'm
no,
sorry,
no, no.
Miss-
I just thought about it. I was a little distracted because I have my grand and I missed the whole motion. And here we get ready to vote. So I'm gonna ask again for you to repeat that motion.
Yes, ma'am. Would you like for me to repeat the motion, or would you like for me to repeat my explanation of the motion?
I heard the explanation because
Okay.
that came after the motion, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't
All
hear
right.
the motion.
So the motion is that Ms. Powdra, our village manager, develop a plan for lot development between the Port Authority and Hamilton County Community Development Planning. So that's i.e. Joy and her group. She has a whole group, and i.e. Ms. Rob and Mr. Brown and Mr. Melton and Mr. Hun and all of that. We just want to formalize the agreement that says, yes, we want to work with them and we want to get a plan. All right. Thank you. Ms. Randolph, roll call. Oh, I see your hand. Okay, hold on one second. Ms. Baber, I see your hand up. Ms. Baber, can you hear me?
Okay, I'm sorry. I was
That's
on
okay.
mute.
Yes, ma'am.
So how would these people get paid for their services?
How would they get paid for the services? Well, we can let Ms.
That they'll be doing? Yeah.
Yeah, they're not charging us to do the work. This is work that they do throughout the county. They just need an agreement that we want them working in our community. So they get paid, like Ms. Rob get paid from the Port Authority and the county gets paid from tax dollars and
Taxes.
what have you. Exactly. So the agreement is not for us to put forth money to have them working with us, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question, Ms. Baber?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. There's no other questions. We'll do a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber,
Yes.
we have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Thank you, committee. And so the next step is that we will bring this motion to council for a full council vote at our next council meeting. Okay, I'd like to thank our guests for appearing today to give everyone some context on the work that has been done up until this point and sharing with us. And we will continue to have meetings like this so that all of our committee is up to speed and up to date, and the transparency of what is happening, what's going on, what's being considered, so everybody is aware of it. So our guests, at this point, if you're welcome to stay at the meeting. We're going to go on to our next line item of business, or you can just sign off if you want at this point. But Ms. Rob, Ms. Powdra will get with you after our next council meeting, should council approve the motion that will come out of this meeting. Okay. Okay, Mr. Melton and Mr. Hun. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Right.
All right, committee. So the next item that we're going to discuss, now we're going to rotate back to old business, and that is the property at, it's actually 1054 Stephen Street. We have had a lot of conversations about this property. We've recently gotten a lot of information at one time about the property as well. And I think the last piece of information that we received was via email, maybe, and Ms. Randolph, I'm sure, will correct me, but it was from Mr. Mercer with a couple sentences as far as, I'm sorry, trying to grab my papers. Mr. Mercer has indicated that he gave us the resolution number, which I think we were able to find the legislation, and that it places the overlay of C1, which is a commercial zoning code on Stephen Avenue from Wayne to McIntyre, allowing commercial development on Stephen. I'm not quite sure if everybody got a chance to kind of connect the dots on all the documents that we've received. I did get a chance to connect the dots, and I had a couple of things that I kind of came to a resolution on. And so I know Ms. Mitchell had brought this issue up, and just wanted to see, after you have reviewed the documentations, I think we're still waiting on the deed, and we have not received the deed as of yet, Ms. Randolph, is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, ma'am. And so we're still waiting on the deed to see what language is in the deed. And I think that might be the last piece of paperwork that we're waiting on. Am I correct, or are we waiting on anything else for this particular property?
I think we are waiting on something, Ms. Key, to make sure that in the information that we've already received, it talks about property being reverted, so forth and so on, but there's no details to that. And that's what we need to locate.
Yes, and so that was kind of my takeaway as I was reading through the document and trying to map out the dates and what took place. I think the biggest thing for me, Ms. Mitchell, was that the land was transferred to Mr. Crawford prior to the final piece of legislation. And that, in my opinion, would then allow Mr. Crawford to have had that property as a residential property. And that's a concern, because if all the work that led up to it was supposed to be set for commercial, but it was transferred to him prior to the legislation that zoned that area commercial, then he might be in all his right to have that item as residential. And that's only me speaking from just connecting the dots. And but I don't have the final say, but I do know that we still have to get some more information. Vice Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Key, even if that is the case, because I don't know how he obtained the property. I assumed with all of this information that it was a time when Lincoln Heights was selling properties or plots of land. He got one. It had stipulations. He said he was going to do one thing. He paid something, and then Ms. Mitchell had to send him a letter saying we need that balance, and these are the things that you said that you were going to do. And everything, though, that's in that piece of paper, that's the document, right? Wouldn't that paper be the document that would needed, that he said that he was doing commercial?
Well, that's one of the documents that I did not see. So I did not see a document that indicated from Mr. Crawford that he agreed on that. I did see the letter that came out, and the letter stated what the stipulations were, but the letter, and maybe this is a conversation that we might need to take offline. So I'm just talking from
right. I would think that we probably need to kind of maybe discuss that in an executive session. And I think the other thing that we need to do is begin to look for the minutes that led up to the sale of that.
Okay.
because I'm pretty sure that Mr. Crawford did tell us that he was wanting to put a restaurant there, small restaurant with perhaps an ice cream bar in there.
Mhm.
And that was one of the things that prompted the change to commercial.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. So I'm going to make a motion that we table this until a time that we can go into executive session, gather more information to talk about what's happening here.
A second.
Thank you. It's been moved in second. Do we have any other questions? Hearing no questions, Ms. Randolph, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Thank you. I will get with the mayor. I will get with the mayor to see when the appropriate time to have it in executive session will be. Or if we get all the documents, we can go into executive session out of this committee as well. So I will let the committee know when we'll bring that item off table for further discussion. Okay, before we go to miscellaneous business, I did see one of our business owners pop in, Mr. Emmett. Didn't know if you was wanting to address the committee or if you were just here to hear what's happening in committee today. If you'd like to address us, you have the floor.
Thank you. Just good to be here. Just here to observe and learn what's going on in the village.
Thank you, sir. We're glad that you're here.
Glad to be here. And if it's any thing that you need, Ms. Laverne and I did talk a little bit about businesses in the village, and I'm excited to be one and active to see what we can do to maybe bring back a business association. So I think that'll help in all kinds of ways.
Well, thank you. Well, we look forward to hearing more about that conversation. We're sure Ms. Mitchell will be sharing more information that she finds with us. She's working on some subcommittees with Ms. Powdrell and myself, so we're sure that we'll hear more information about that. Ms. Baber, I see your hand is still up. Did you have something that you would like to say, ma'am?
No, I guess it's just still up from last time.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss you. Okay, so we're moving down to miscellaneous business. Sorry. Are there any items for miscellaneous business, Ms. Powdrell or committee members? There's no items for miscellaneous.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry, Ms. Mitchell, I didn't see you.
That's okay. That's
Go
okay.
ahead.
I was really waiting to see if Ms. Powder was going to answer. So I'm questioning what property is ours on Mangum. You know, when we went through I-75 through the valley, the conversation was, oh, you all get this property that used to belong to the state. Okay, and so they were doing some work over there on the east side of Mangum, next to the highway. So I'm interested in knowing what that is, you know, what that work is that they're doing. And then what property, how much of that property is available for development. So that may be something that, you know, we need to get in touch with, I guess, ODOT or either the Ohio Economic Development people.
Gotcha. So I know that that question came up maybe a few committee meetings ago. So I know that there was some conversation as far as it has not been identified yet, like transferred over to us yet, but I don't want to speak to it because I don't have all those details. And I believe the mayor may have given us some information. So Mayor, did you have any information on that you could share?
Not at this time, but what I can do is reach out to Chris Kaysen. I know he has came whenever we needed him to come and have conversation with us about the properties and the things that were going on as they were developing the highway and the expansion. He's made himself very available for us, so I can reach out to him and find out if he would have that information regarding what properties are available, so we will be able to know exactly what and how, how much acreage or yardage or whatever that we have available. I'm thinking that he would know that information, but if not, I'm sure that I can get that information. I can actually have that for you for Monday.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
And perhaps we can get that information also. Definitely want to make sure Ms. Powdrill is in the loop with that, well as we're looking at those maps, because that can help us as we're looking at those maps, that can help us determine commercial aspects or commercial prospects for those areas. So maybe even sharing those maps with him and having him, say this is your property and what have you, and then letting us know.
Okay, if he does send that via email, I will send that out to the committee.
Thank you.
You'll have that. If I get it I'll send an email out to him today. And if I get that information prior, he may send it via email, and I'll make sure to share that with the committee and Ms. Powdrill.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, because Madam Chair, I tried to, when I looked at Mr. Brown's map, I don't think he had noted what might have been state property. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to look for that, and I tried to look it up on the auditor's map, but
it's not there.
I didn't get anywhere.
Yeah, it's not there yet. And it would be nice, just as Mr. Brown indicated in his presentation, as soon as we know what's ours, let's get with Mr. Brown and say, hey, can you add this to our map? Because that will be a tool that we'll be able to use. Also help us with marketing as well. Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Any other questions? At miscellaneous, any other miscellaneous business? All right, are there any announcements?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, Vice Mayor.
I have an announcement. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. in Respect My Blocks, it will be the meeting for Lincoln Heights celebration. Thank you. You can find the link on our website.
Great, thank you. Ms. Baber.
Yes.
Ms. Baber, can you tell, when is the recreation meeting again?
It's Wednesday, the 3rd at 5:30.
At 5:30. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Any other announcements? All right, no announcements. Thank you, committee. This has been a great meeting. Next meeting, we will dig into, and hopefully we'll have some more information. I'm looking at our Wi-Fi, our smart city, and looking at all the things that we're working on to get a report out. And hopefully we'll have some more information about our residential lots, looking at our commercial lots, looking at our commercial pieces as well. So it's going to be a process, but we want to make sure that everybody is engaged in some sort of way in the process. And Ms. Baber, would you mind giving me a call after this meeting? Or can I call you after this meeting to discuss some things with you?
Yes, you can give me a call.
Okay, I'll give you a call. All right, if there's no more announcements or nothing else good for the order. Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Key, I also want to make sure that you have that information regarding the brownfield and But because we haven't talked about it in a while. I know it's been about a month since we had got information regarding the selling of the property with the Bean property. We haven't heard anything lately, but I'll get that information for you and Ms. Powdry. I'll try to see if I can get an update with the realtor that was handling that Bean property and the other gentleman, Mr. Fisher. So you can have that in information for your economic development. I just thought about it when the gentleman was talking about commercial.
Okay, great. I know we talked about it briefly, and I did see an email from our tax administrator, I think. Some information that came out about brownfield or
that's
about
what made me think about it when she sent it today.
So I'll make sure, and I just got it, so I haven't had a chance to read through it to digest it. So I'll send that out to committee so that you guys can read it. And if we can get that information, I think we just heard that the Bean property may have been sold.
Okay.
I don't know where I heard that from, so I'm not even gonna put that on record, but I thought I heard, or that there was a potential buyer. Maybe that's what I heard.
I think that's what you heard.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Powdry. Is that what it was? Thank you. Thank you. I like to defer to the, that's why it's good to have multiple people in those meetings. That makes sense. So we can make sure we're bringing back correct information. So there's a potential buyer for Bean property. We are interested in who that buyer is. And we're going to want to have some conversations because that property has been something that I know has been on our radar for quite a while. And we need to, as we're developing in the village, we need to include that property as well. So thank you, Madam Mayor. If you get us that information, and I'll share out the email that came in today from Miss D. And you can scroll down. It has a lot of information, but the one I was particularly interested in was the brownfield things. Ms. Mitchell?
Question. Yes. So Mayor, I think, and Ms. Powder, I believe, does Mr. Bean own 2 properties where the junkyard is, and then is there another one on the north side of Shepherd Drive? Does he have 2 properties, 2 pieces of properties? One a building, one junkyard.
I'm not sure if it's the 2 properties that are separate from each other. I'm not sure of that.
Okay, yeah, we need to try to find that out.
I know there was conversation that he owns some property in another community.
Oh yeah, he's out in Deer Park, Silverton, but for some reason I'm thinking that he owns a building that is across the street, like a little up from where Club Chef was.
Yeah.
And then he owns the junkyard going all up the hill to Lincoln Heights Baptist.
Hey, we have our map. Let's look it up.
But I thought one meeting we talked about that because they said that property also is starting to overflow.
Yeah.
Well, it might be. You mean where he may have cars and things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Madam Chair, his neighbor, I'm thinking his name is Mr. Fisher. He also was both of them were planning to sell their properties.
Okay.
So I'll be able to see from the gentleman that was the realtor, his task was trying to sell both of them. I'll be able to get some information from him and see what Ms. Powdrill, what has transpired, because I know both of them was trying to sell their properties together, not with each other,
right.
But they both were up for sale at the same time.
And what is Mr. Fisher's business, Mayor?
I can't remember. I just remember his name. So I hope I didn't take the realtor name Fisher. Is the realtor name Fisher? That's what it was. I just remember it's a Fisher. I can't think of the other gentleman's name, but I'll have that information Monday. I know that lawyer name is Fisher, but I do know there are 2 properties and 2 owners, and both of them were trying to sell the properties at the same time about 3-4 months back.
Gotcha. And since the commercial work for the village is part of one of our pillars that we are working on, we will add that as a standalone within one of our next committee meetings, so we can delve into that. So remember, we talked about our meetings might look a little different going forward But we'll take a chunk of work. Like today we looked at housing. So we'll take a chunk of work and we'll look at commercial. So let's try to gather all of our details that we can get on that property. And maybe it's not at the next committee meeting, but the following one. So that give us a lot of time to, just research and look at it and bring the information to committee. And then if there's something that anybody knows that's hot that we might need to move on right away, please bring that up so we can do so, because we can always ask the mayor if we can look at it in council as well.
Yes, no problem. Anytime.
Thank you. All right. No other items for today's meeting. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
We're properly moved in second. Everybody signify by saying aye.
Aye, and good night, everyone.
Any opposed? No opposed? Only heard one aye.
Aye. Aye. Good meeting.
All right.
Good
Thank
meeting.
you. Everyone have a great evening. Mr. Emmett, you're always welcome to join us the first Tuesday of each month at 6:30 or whatever
It's
meeting you want to
Monday.
pop into. Monday. I'm sorry.
Monday.
Thank you. Ms. Randolph keeps me in line. Or whatever meeting you want to pop into, you're always welcome to join us.
Well, thank you. I feel welcomed, and I have it on my calendar as a standing meeting that I plan to attend.
Awesome.
So let me make a suggestion. So, Mr. Drain, you need to send a letter or just an email to Miss Randolph to say that you want to receive that link, because that is one of the things that our rules of council or something says, or what is it, the sunshine law, you can request to be notified. Then that way, when you send something to me, I take a half hour before I see it to send it to you.
Okay.
So you can, all right.
It's
So,
on the
who should-
website.
Okay, I'll go to the website. I'll find it there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a great evening.
Everybody drive safe.
Thank you.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
No,
Thank you.
no
Good night.
snow. No snow.
snow.
We'll do it.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.